Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to the Transmissions Podcast, where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third-party Transformers! On this episode of Transmissions, we're joined by internet personality and huge Transformers fan, Vangelus, to reveal what was discussed at the online Transformers Fan Roundtable Hasbro organized, gush over the new blaster figure that was shown off, and marvel at Hasbro Transformers designer Mark's awesome breakdancing moves. Today is Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021, and this is episode 458 of Transmissions. Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that believes the annual Treehouse of Horror episode of The Simpsons is the only episode you need to watch. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. From WTF at TFW, Chris, better known as Vangelus.
Transmissions team.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Transmissions team go.
It's really great to once again be here as part of the excellent Transmissions team, who got top billing. I didn't realize until about 1 second before I took a look at what Charles was reading. So that's much appreciated. I had a great last week on the podcast too. Whew, there might have been some beef, but it was a good run.
Let's talk Transformers.
All right, and yes, after a long hiatus, we welcome back Chris, also known as Vangelus. Thanks for coming on and helping us out this week. Jeremy is on assignment, and we needed some additional good talking guys to come on the show. So Chris, thanks for coming on.
They can't hide the events of that Hasbro Q&A, let me tell you. They took Jeremy out, but I swooped in, so except I only wrote down the things I was interested in, which are probably not actually the things most other people are interested in. I took a lot of parasocial bullet point notes about the Hasbro people, because I'm kind of a creep. So it's all good.
And as always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal, and they help keep the show going. We really appreciate them, all the people who support us. And if you are not a supporter and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up. Of course, this show is free and will always be free, but we do appreciate all those people who do choose to support us, and we thank them every episode.
And I'll notice if you're not. Trust me. I got eyes.
And for our supporters, we do give them some perks. So if you are a Donatreon, you get access to early episodes of our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. And episode 62, The Trial of the Century, will be out this week. It should already be available to you if you are a Donatreon, and it's the uncut bonus early episode. This is the version that's before Mike does all the snazzy editing and cuts it down for the free feed that will be out next week. But this one just came out November 1st. So as this podcast goes up on November 3rd, you should already have access via our Patreon. We also have a very special episode of our Empire of Rust Transmissions collaboration, and this is part 5 of this 6-part storyline, and that is this episode is titled The Telltale Spark. And this is also available exclusively to our Donatreon. So 2 awesome Empire of Rust RPG podcast, Transformers RPG podcast episodes to listen to. So enjoy that. And we also have our Toy Hacks drawing coming up next week. So this will be our October drawing. I know it's already November as you hear this, but if you are a Donatreon, you are automatically entered into our monthly Toy Hacks drawing, where we give you a $10 gift code from Toy Hacks, from our friends at Toy Hacks. Thank you to them for supplying that gift. So if you are a Donatreon, you're automatically entered into our contest. But if you still want to enter and are not a Donatreon, you can just send an email to contest@transmissionspodcast.com with a picture of a Transformer that you'd like to get labels for. And all the entries must be received by Sunday, November 7th to be eligible for the October giveaway. If they come later, then you'll just go into the November giveaway. So good luck to everyone, and we will have the drawing and the results next week. So
I like Toy Hacks' YouTube channel.
I do too. I think you're whoever does videos for that is very good at it.
I got no comment on whoever makes their videos, but I like their YouTube channel. I felt the need to throw that out there because I also hadn't talked for like 30 seconds and I got a problem.
All right, well, we'll keep the show moving so Chris gets a chance to talk as much as he needs to.
I'm just doing a bit. I don't got a Twitch. I'm doing a bit. It's bad when I'm not hosting a podcast because I already feel it happening. I'm like, ooh, he said uncut. I could say the one with the cussing in it, but I'm sure that's not what the uncut version of EOR means. It's just, that's immediately right there in my head. Anyway, toy news, toys, Transformers. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump right into some toy news.
So we're going to start off this week with a new color prototype. This is from X-Transbots, and they have got a Ultra Magnus they are bringing out, and it is their MX-22 Commander Stack. And this one, this is Ultra Magnus. It looks really, really good. I think it's Masterpiece scale, because I get confused, because I think it was one of the other, the companies that did the Legend scale stuff came out with Ultra Magnus recently and looked almost exactly like this, only it was Legend scale. So this is X-Transbots Masterpiece scale. The thing's going to stand 27 centimeters tall in robot mode, which for all you guys in America, that is about 10.5 inches.
You still got the tape measure.
Yep, 10.5 inches.
That wasn't me. That was Chris, but I got mine out too.
Yeah, I have one next to me here, and just on
to.
Instinct. Yeah,
You have to. Yeah.
It's necessary.
Yes, the Americans and their Neanderthal measurement system is just ridiculous.
So when I first saw the ad copy for this, because everything's always in inches, I was like, damn, 27 inches tall, because I didn't finish reading the sentence, and I just turned something else on my phone. That's pretty big. That's probably too big, but whatever. But yeah, this makes more sense.
Yeah, it's everything's getting bigger these days. It's in truck mode. So it's going to be 38.5 centimeters long, which is just over 14 inches. So it's a big boy. This is a big boy. If you can take a look at the pictures, we've got links in the show notes. This thing is straight up G1. It looks fantastic. I've got the official Masterpiece one. The only other one that I think has come out that is in this scale is that KFC stack. And this one looks way better. I got to give it to them. It looks better than the official. It looks better than KFC's. But both of these, the official and the KFC's, is a bunch of years old now. So there's been a lot of upgrades in the old engineering of toys since then. Let's go to Chris. It's been a while, Chris. What are you're looking at? Commander Stack here. What are your thoughts?
Well, my first thing is the sort of thing that's not much of a secret anymore, which is that KFC and X-Transbots are kind of what do you call it, roommates. Is interesting because there's probably a little bit of DNA, not in this literal design, but Commander or Citizen Stack, the KFC one, and Commander Stack are kind of coming out of the same from under the same roof, and. What really caught my eye about this is they didn't go all the way, but they went somewhat for Skinny Magnus, which is my favorite Ultra Magnus. Magic Square is the only company anywhere that has ever gone for Skinny Magnus on a self-contained transformation that I can recall. So while this is not skinny Magnus, in some shots he definitely looks a bit bulkier than in other shots. That's also the key difference between him and official Masterpiece Magnus, because official Masterpiece Magnus is very much a bulkier Magnus with a lot of toy kind of surface, or not toy, cartoon surface on a bit more of a toy bulk.
Right.
So that's clearly the draw for this one too, is if you don't want that much bulk and if you want something that's got an ab crunch and etc. So I think it looks pretty cool. With X-Transbots, I'm generally not an early adopter because I really need to know how the transformation works, because it's still not a given that I'm gonna want this if the transformation's a complete nightmare. And I'm looking right at their Streetwise
Okay.
Generally, it seems their Protectobots are newer things they're putting out that still have transformations that do not connect with my tactile needs. So I'd like to know more about how this converts, and then I might be a bit more interested, because also it's like $200 American dollars, and that's a lot to go in on a pre-order when I don't know if I'm going to actually enjoy handling it. But it's making a good first impression. Absolutely.
Right on. Yeah. This thing is it's. They're doing something here that as I'm going through the pictures, that I haven't seen from really any company putting out a masterpiece scale figure, and it's that they are also including the human avatar from that one episode where Ultra Magnus and Springer and was it RC did it too? And
yeah,
I'm trying to remember the fourth. Who was the fourth?
Hot Rod.
Hot Rod, of course. Hot Rod becomes they become humans for an episode, and this is kind of interesting because we did get those figures, individually, and a lot of people really like the idea of there being a human counterpart to their favorite Transformers. So maybe this is lending some credence to the idea that there's gonna continue this kind of third season characters to kind of complete the only human cast.
I also got to give a little shout out. I just noticed they added spread to the fingers, and that's like my big demand from articulated hands right now. So that's another plus. As long as those hands actually like feel nice to pose. But I'm happy to see spread showing up in more third party stuff too.
Yeah, for sure. Charles, you have been known to exist as a human avatar for a giant sentient robot. You do tend to have a bit of a robotic personality, and that's that's a good thing for someone in a job such as yours. When you see a toy depicting your a robotic avatar here, does that give you hope that you might get an action figure of yourself?
Wow.
I had nothing to do with that. I just got to really clarify. I'm just watching on the sidelines.
Daryl, your words do not compute. I appreciate the the veiled insults that you. It seems like there were several insults wrapped in what
calling those veiled. Are we? We're calling those veiled?
Yeah, I guess
getting the story straight here.
Yeah, the veil was pretty see-through. It was pretty transparent.
What I didn't that backhanded compliment didn't land. I was saying that you were good at being a computer geek.
Yeah, it seemed more like a front-handed insult, but okay. This is a good looking Ultra Magnus. I appreciate the posability. It looks very good. I think the face is nice. It looks like he's got like 6 different faces. So that's cool.
Looks like it.
Yeah. I would like to know how those are to be swapped, because if a screwdriver's involved, I'm going to throw a shoebox at somebody.
But yeah, I mean, I appreciate the articulation. Like Chris said, I think having the hands that can have lots of do lots of different poses is cool. I wonder if does the cab turn into a prime bot, or is it does it just fold into the body?
Oh, I very much doubt it has its own alt mode. Like,
Yeah.
I think the conceit they're going for is the one other time someone went for Skinny Magnus, it's also like an all-in-one transformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
I'm also there's a shot that shows the cockpit inside the cab, and I'm just looking, and there's like a hinge in there.
Yeah.
So I don't think that turns into anything.
Mm-hmm.
They got a bunch of sculpted detail in there though. Like they sculpted a glove box, the console for the truck. Like that's.
Yeah.
Also, they have a message there. It says for better driving room display, and then they put their own watermark over half the text, and I can't read it. So I don't know what's hidden in the image.
I find it odd that they put that much detail in the inside of the cab, whereas Magnus, like the robot mode for Magnus, is kind of plain. Like he's I think they're going for the animation model, so it's not super detailed, but yeah, it's kind of pretty straightforward. Not a lot of detailing. But yeah, I mean, if you're into the animation model, it's a good representation.
Yeah, I hope that the plane surfaces mean that the articulation has really good flow and holds well. This needs to be a tactile hit, I think, to really follow through on what it's going for, and X-Transbots can do that, but it's like not a thing that's a given with a lot of their stuff, so hopefully they get some good coverage out before one can actually buy it. But also, I know I'm in the minority. A lot of folks tend to just make a decision about this kind of thing 2 days ago. So
the that writing at the bottom there that's kind of obscured says, for better driving room display, some parts are hidden in this image, and that's basically referring to the fact that the whole windshield has been removed so that you can actually see the driving compartment.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's because it's a CAD model. That's why. Okay. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, they just took it out. But anyway, this is pretty cool. We'll kind of see where this goes and how it kind of lands. But yeah, a very cool looking Ultra Magnus that is looks like it's planned for release in the second quarter of next year. So got a little bit of time. Save up some pennies. Anyway, that's what I had. Chris, what do you have going on this week?
I was on a Transformers PR list roundtable Zoom call Q&A thing that relates to a toy reveal, so it's kind of all-encompassing.
All right.
I did write down who all was there from Hasbro. We had Ben Montano, who I would like to give a shout-out. Ben Montano kept an organized flow going, and there were a lot of people on that call, and I was going in very worried that there wouldn't be an organized flow, but there was. So good on him. We had Mark Marr, who you guys had a lengthy nickname for. And then we also
Stoner
had
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, and we had Sam Smith. We had Rachel Marketing Fleming and Evan Design Brooks in there as well. So that was it was nice having that many voices in there. In fact, I mistook at least. Oh, we also had BMAC in there too, from the marketing end. Our up and coming fellow who I think wasn't really supposed to be on the streams at first, and then kind of got thrown into it, and I think has done a pretty good job of flowing with that. I also did mistake at least two of the Hasbro people for PR list people, and I was like, man, I don't recognize some of these folks. They seem to know a lot too. Oh, they're from Hasbro. That's why they're answering the question. All right. So yeah, I took a few notes. Not actually a ton outside of the Dream Collabs question, but like my notes is quickly. Lenny is 100% solely G.I. Joe now, so he was not present. Lenny is the one who had, sounds like a very interesting story to tell about nailing the yellow hue for the Pantone on Autobot Arc. So hopefully we can still hear that in full someday. They mentioned that with accessory packs, this was in context of the Unicron pack, they like to include a figure with accessory packs, as you can see with, reformat Galvatron, Tricranius, or the Centurion drone. There was a fellow there, DJ something, who had a kid with him, and they were there last time. And I like how the Hasbro folks are when they are answering a minor's question, because the young fellow was basically like, "Is there going to be a Soundwave in Legacy to go with the blaster that's clearly in the poster art?" And their response was kind of like, "Do you want a Soundwave in Legacy?" And I was like, that's a great way to answer that, because like they can't just say there's a Soundwave in Legacy. So they're like, well, tell me, would you like a Soundwave, and if so, which one? And I thought that was a really cool way to answer that. Ben Yee of Ben Yee brought up that a lot of pandemic era Transformers became immediately scarce. A lot of Amazon exclusives, a lot of that kind of stuff, and a route of reissue would be appreciated. Just for all the Canadians in the room and out there listening, I did chime in to say it behooved me as a Canadian to bring up that our country literally did not get the Conehead 2-pack, and we had a long 1-year journey that ended in discovering that, so that would be a lovely thing to get reissued somehow as well. I think Ben Yee brought them up in context of the Buzzworthy line as like a route of getting them back out there somehow. Like, given what the Buzzworthy line's been doing of just sort of, like that 4-pack, the Worlds Collide 4-pack, just kind of releasing stuff.
Yeah.
And it was also mentioned by the Hasbro folks that John Warden did kind of lay the seeds for Legacy, with the specific example being when they did the redeco of Prowl into Barricade, it lit a light bulb, to quote them. Ben Montano also had lots of snark on leak lists. Not like hard snark, probably not even what people would call snark, but very, very, very passive-aggressive, fun little lines like something about, lists of character names that some of you guys might be referring to, which, those don't make any sense because we have a very tight ship here. It's very hush-hush, no leaks at all. I appreciate when the Hasbro folks just sort of, like, dunk on the leak lists, because, like, what else are they supposed to do? Like, pretend they're not existing? Then I have a lot of notes, because I wrote down everyone's dream collab, but we can get to that later. And then it was mentioned Legacy Wave 1 summer dates on pre-orders are in the summer. They're in June or July. Someone asked if that's actually when they're coming out. And marketing folks said that they are aiming for Q1, but the stated date is to accommodate potential shipping concerns as a buffer, basically, just in case like another Suez Canal happens, or if the ongoing situation with containers starts affecting Transformers through next year. That's my assumption. I should say they didn't necessarily say those specifically. The team also said they're still working about 2 years out from release. And Evan then mentioned that does in fact lead to occasionally being confused about what year it is when doing things like signing checks. Because they're living in 2023 right now, if not 2024, at work. And they have to sometimes remember that the year is currently 2021 when they're speaking publicly and stuff like that. And, Kingdom Wave 5, which at the time they had not told us what it was. This is when they were hinting to us that if we stuck around to the end, we'd get to see something. Kingdom Wave 5 is going... They first said there's going to be no pre-orders, it's going straight to stores. The wording was then like, so, it's kind of like folks can just discover a toy on the shelf. But then someone said, it might have been Penny or someone said, does that mean that they're not going to online retailers? To which it was said, no, they're going to online retailers as well. So my parsing of this is there's just not going to be a Hasbro Pulse pre-order on Kingdom Wave 5. But everywhere else will have it, and probably everywhere else will put pre-orders up. So it sounds a lot worse than I think it actually is, because like Pulse is not generally getting stuff in first when it comes to like mainline toys, and I have a theory about why that is. But yeah, other than that, there's the collabs thing, which I don't have. It's kind of lengthy. I don't have to go through the whole thing. I saw a lot of it sneaking out to Twitter, and it is worth mentioning. Anything that they said are concepts that are not actually being made because they said them. Sam Smith has a concept he's very, very into, but he said to the point where he's made a pitch for it and is trying really hard to actually get it made. So obviously he's not going to say what that is, because that would eliminate its ability to be made if he said what it was before it was approved. And then that led to them revealing the blaster. But I guess before we want to hit that blaster, we got Jeremy's notes as well. Daryl, was there anything in Jeremy's notes that you wanted to add in?
Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, that one thing right at the top is that Mark is hoping to get Thunderwing back. Thunderwing's just a really cool character that a lot of people that were into the comics really like. There is more Studio Series 86 coming, so that's very cool. As far as, like, I'm hoping for the Dinobots. I want to finish those 5 Dinobots, and then, everything else is gravy. I don't want to be left with 2 Dinobots. So, yeah. He mentioned here that the Combiner Menasor that's coming out in Wave. Well, I'm assuming it's mostly going to be Wave 1 of Legacy, but it's the Combiner combining system is going to be a whole new thing where it's not anywhere similar to Combiner Wars or anything like that. It's all new.
I do recall a specific wording. That question was, I believe, Alex from TFW 2005 basically saying, like, I know you can't say anything about how the toy works, but can you say that it is not compatible with Combiner Wars? To which they said it is not designed with the intent of being compatible with Combiner Wars. And they did mention, like, if there is any compatibility, it is a complete coincidence and not by design. Which I think mostly just means 5mm ports, and the fact that, like, there's kind of ways to kludge those into Combiner stuff. The positive wording that was used was that the design intent was a contained Menasor experience.
Cool.
Which basically means, yeah, we're probably not seeing those pegs coming back.
Mm-hmm. I'm personally looking forward to how the Menasor is going to look, because for me, that Combiner Wars Menasor was garbage. It just looked like crap, but, there's a lot of people who still like that stuff, so I'm looking forward to the new one, though. Going into more of Jeremy's stuff, he said, he wrote down, if anything, Legacy is going to expands going into the weird.
That might have been off my question, I asked them about Gen Selects and Legacy kind of cracking the roof open. That was how I got in my necessary inception of Omega Supreme on Hasbro people whenever I interact with them. I had an OBS virtual webcam thing set up to have my picture changed to make sure there was an enormous Omega Supreme next to me with a label on it, whilst I referred to him as a cult icon, and then went on to also refer to IDW characters that are beloved as far as, wider character choices.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they obviously, again, they couldn't say anything specific. And I should say part of the goal of these Q&As is not to get advance news, because they can't just tell us things.
Sure.
So the goal is partly get tidbits by being clever, and also state things to put those ideas on the table where the design team and the marketing team can both see them. Because I know I've seen other people say, like, what's the point of the Q&As if they can't do, like, reveals? And this time they kind of, like, shot me in the foot and were like, also here's a reveal. And I was like, all right, sweet.
Jeremy's got here that more Japanese characters are coming, which I'm excited about. There's a couple of really crazy ones that I'd love to see. Armada love is coming, and we all have kind of known this for a while, that there's this prototype of Armada Optimus kind of sitting out there in the, waiting to be done, and nobody at Hasbro's done it yet. So we know there's something out there. We're all kind of waiting on it.
I think someone really wishes that hadn't been put on a table a couple years ago.
Yeah. So there's Armada stuff coming. So the Titan class is going to continue. He said about the bulkhead, I think that was brought up. Legacy's going to continue looking at a consistency through the shelf to fit each character with others, but some won't be as extreme as bulkhead. So that's what Jeremy wrote here for that. Do you want to get into some of the the pieces of that you learned about the Hasbro people?
Yeah, so Rachel Marketing, as I like to call her, is apparently 6 feet tall, and
awesome.
and BMAC mentioned that he met her in person for the very first time at this recent PulseCon, and I would agree. She's one of those folks who it's not like she looks short in webcams, but she looks like, oh, she's about my height in a webcam, like the kind of person who tends to just look your height. Where when you meet them and they are 6 feet tall, you're like, oh, hi, whoa, hi, what's going on? You're a lot taller than I thought you were going to be. Also, Mark Marr didn't just used to breakdance. In his words, he used to be very into breakdancing. So he was very excited to mention that when he showed us Blaster. And I think that was the most of the parasocial creepo stuff. I did mention to them in one of my questions at the end when I told them about wanting to see more design desk type stuff. I mentioned if they've ever seen someone calling to brigade their live chat with chanting stuff like Evan Design or Rachel Marketing, that is me, because I do really enjoy their streams. So I did the parasocial creep thing, as I like to call it. Which is, I guess, it's a bit of self-deprecating humor I shouldn't do, but it was interesting to see Hasbro people that in my brain I had kind of like classified as fun people to watch on streams before Transformers team members. So it was an interesting vibe to get out of that.
Yeah, it's always interesting to learn something new about a person that you kind of associate with, with a brand or something that you're kind of into, right? So yeah.
And I mean, I would also stress, especially to, like, anyone who's newer to the internet, like, I think it's fun to do this, but, like, also put a certain limit on it. Like by purchasing Transformers product, you are not, like, you're helping out a brand more than you are helping out these individual people who work on it. So, like, at a certain, like, don't turn it into a weird thing, but it is just fun to know the people who are working on that team. Mm-hmm. And they actually had, like, their collab, their reactions to the question about their dream collabs also was, like, interesting. Just to touch on a couple, like, immediately Mark Marr went like, I want SpongeBob who turns into the pineapple. Mm-hmm. And he did, like, without a pause, he said that immediately, a split second after the question was asked. Which is funny because Ben Montano basically said that Mark has a really bonkers one he's constantly going on about, and it's not the SpongeBob one. So when pressed by Ben Montano, Mark said that he has been going on about Chester Cheetor, a Cheetor repaint with sunglasses added to the Cheetah mode, who would have the cheesy finger dust stuff added to the toy and possibly cheese-scented plastic.
Oh my god.
And we were all very into that. Sam, I don't think this was his idea. He's been trying to actually get pitched, but he did share another one, which was the orca from Jaws turning into a Quintesson-inspired bot with a big fishing pole made out of all the orca's, hunting gear. Evan of Evan Design said that he would genuinely really like to do a chocobo, possibly off of Voyager Dinobot, that turns into the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1. But it would be very important that the chocobo could be ridden by other Transformers. Ben Montano went immediately to, easy but good street kit, but it would have to have lights and sound. When we learned about Rachel and basketball is when she said that she would like to have anything related to LeBron James or Space Jam. And then apparently Ben Mack still loves the younger fellow who asked this question the first time. Had mentioned an idea at the last Q&A, and Ben Mack said he still loves the idea of a Homer Simpson that turns into a couch. And it was also brought up, Ben Montano apparently spends about half of his working time doing stuff for Transformers Collab between pitches and negotiations with the people they want to, or the companies and brands they want to collab with. And he did say that this is kind of logical, but he confirmed, it has been getting easier to negotiate these with each one they actually put out. So Ectotron did a ton of work for the brand, apparently, by basically being the first one where they could say, look, this is actually a thing that we've done once. And every subsequent one means that they're able to say, we've done it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and that's making it easier for them to do, like, that's probably how that Jurassic Park one happened, is by that point they were able to say, like, look, we've got a whole suite of these, and 2 of these are very beloved pop culture movies. So, you down with this or not? And whereas I'm sure Jurassic Park, whoever owns it as a brand earlier would be like, why? And apparently that is kind of the question that you do run into with non-Transformers companies when you say we want to collab with you on this, is they kind of go like, yeah, but why would our thing turn into a robot? Like, you kind of have to help them into the idea, it sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all my notes.
I mean, particularly with the Ectotron, I remember that made it onto national television when they had it featured in the Goldbergs, in an episode of the Goldbergs when it came out. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that at least improved just increased the impressions there.
I'm sure like Ectotron immediately followed by Gigawatt also was a 1-2 punch that was like, hey everyone, like come on in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still taking credit for Gigawatt. Because I pitched it at Fan Expo and it hadn't been released, and then it came out, and I don't care about your 2 years of lead up time. I said it. And then it was a thing. It was a
year later. So I'm saying they fast tracked that Gigawatt. It was a year. Yeah. They fast tracked
deniability. Plausible deniability. John Warden is over in Power Rangers now, so we'll never find out.
We'll never know. No.
There was one thing I never got to bring up during the Q&A that I really wanted to, but I couldn't find a smooth window for it. Was basically like, do you guys think it would be really, to the Hasbro guys, be like, do you guys think it'd be really funny if you all crashed the next Zord Appreciation Project stream and congratulated John Warden on heading a transforming, converting toy product? Like, hey, you did it! You made a toy that turns from one mode to another. Congratulations, John Warden! I think that'd be really funny if the Transformers team turned up and just acted like he'd never worked on converting products before, but I didn't get a chance. But yeah, then they showed Blaster, which was the big Wave 5 surprise reveal. Blaster from the Legacy poster. Who I assume is the other Legacy Wave 1 Voyager, probably repacked, that ships with Bulkhead, I would assume. And with energized Energon infused eject, because eject matches the plastic used to give Blaster a clear blue chest. That is why, or chest window. That's why that's happening. Because I've seen a lot of people going like, "Damn, translucent plastic," and I'm like, "No, I hear you, but it's because it's sharing plastic space with the chest window. That's why, basically." Which doesn't make it better for folks who don't want that, but. as far as I can tell, that blaster is a 100% new tooling, new mold. Mark Mara said that he worked with Hasui-san on it, and Shogo Hasui had designed a new transformation for it that was meant to be like an evolution of the G1 toys transformation. I would say if people do think they're getting clever, thinking that looks a whole lot like Soundwave, though, bear in mind they are both like boxy men who turn into a rectangular box, and there's kind of a limit on like where parts are going to go on that kind of thing. So, like, the legs do kind of do a similar thing, but, like, I'm pretty sure it's not, like, shared parts.
I mean, they did a similar thing in the G1 toys, and they were not identical molds back then.
Yeah, like, there's nothing that matches. The placement of the spring-loaded button is even different. It's on the belly, and not the upper shoulder. Like, they do have the same size cavity. They confirmed to us they can use each other's cassettes. Yeah, I think that blaster looks like solid for a Kingdom Generations Voyager. I'm actually really impressed with the eject. Like, that looks like a much more posable little figure, given that it turns into the same size slab as the other the Soundwave cassettes do. It looks a lot bigger to me in photos. Even on webcam, it looked bigger to me, but.
Yeah,
Same size.
The Rumble and Frenzy looked very stubby. Like, their legs just look very stubby. I didn't like how they looked, but this eject looks much more in proportion.
Yeah, and like this, smart placement of ball socket joints all over the place. Like, sadly, like, I do get it. Like, I got concerns about the translucent plastic on him. Someone on another Discord mentioned to me, like, did anyone bring up translucent plastic on load bearing areas? And I said it didn't come up this time, and. I did say, like, and this is just all intuition on my part and hunches. I have a feeling that the unofficial but internal answer to that question is, we know, but we think we got it this time. Like, I kind of get that vibe that, like, they know it's a problem, but the answer is not stop doing it. The answer is probably, well, we'll tweak it. We can crack it this time. We can get it because it is a very artistically nice visual to be able to use. That's my suspicion, anyway. I don't have anything to back that up other than hunches. But, yeah, I'm down with that blaster. I think that, I like, the one thing I caught that I wrote down about it is on the back, you can see two things that look like the top of two Duracell batteries. That's by intent. Like, they're kind of cut off on the sculpt, and they double as looking like jetpack things, but they are meant to be, like little Duracell battery caps. I was told that because I asked if there was a hidden headphone jack on the thing, and they said no. But there are 5mm ports. So I think it might have been Evan who said there are enough 5mm ports, you could just add one if you really want to. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Fair enough.
But yeah, how do you guys think? What do you guys think of that blaster that we had exclusively revealed to us on the Q&A stream? Not stream, call. It wasn't stream.
I think it's a good looking blaster. I like it. It does, I just like having it be distinct from Soundwave, and it looks the head looks very much animation model rather than toy model, so that's nice. Maybe that means there's going to be a Generation Selects with a toy face rather than a animation face. But yeah, Blaster was one of my favorite toys as a kid. And I have avoided previous blasters because they were just repaints of Soundwaves. So maybe I'll pick this one up if I can find it, I guess.
Specifically, that reminded me, I wrote this down. They pointed out the face is a two-tone paint job with the face and the head crest. So I couldn't really tell on the webcam, but we'll see when it comes out.
I like it. I think it looks really great. And I know a lot of people were saying, well, is there going to be a Soundwave to go along with it? And, and that was one of the questions that was asked. I mean, the Netflix Soundwave, that's a G1 Soundwave for all I care. It's, and it's the right size class and to kind of match. And, so I don't need another Soundwave for this. That Soundwave is going to work well for me.
But
the issue,
no one
like
could
Charles
get
said,
that
is going
one.
to be.
I was going to say, there's one problem with Netflix Soundwave.
I got it.
They made 100.
I found one in St. Thomas. It's like 30,000 people. It's a small little.
I should say, like, I can also say, like, I got mine, but I didn't ever find it. A friend of mine found one and then texted me and said, "Are you looking for this?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I am."
Yeah.
So I had to use some friend help,
some friend credit.
But I would like for them to put out a Soundwave in Legacy, even if it's just this one in a Legacy box, because so many people weren't able to get this one. It would be nice.
It's the same as the cone heads, right? So if something like that was really really an issue, then re-release the Netflix one in a different box, and they don't need to include all the stuff that came with the Netflix one, but it'd be nice. As far as the blaster goes, I'm really into it. I'm gonna pick it up probably if I can find it. So and like you said, Charles, about a Generation Selects repaint, I think they'd go with the
Twin Cast
first.
Twin Cast with Toy Face.
Yeah. That's probably where they'll go first with this, and then they'll do a Soundwave as well to kind of go with him. I can't imagine another like a Selects double, like a 2-pack of Voyagers. Like that's a big 2-pack. But they did it with the cone heads, but that wasn't really Generation Selects, was it? That was Amazon.
Yeah, I was gonna say this seems like something that in the retailer exclusive world that they'd probably gobble up if you said like, hey, we got a big box with 2 pop culture icons and a big splash of art on the front. I'm like, hell yeah. Put my cigar down for a second. Yes, I would like 100 of those.
Yeah. But I'm in for this. It looks awesome, and more tapes. Get the tapes going.
It didn't come up. We didn't have any time at the end of that Q&A to really ask more than a handful of questions while they were showing the thing. But I think it's kind of implicit. It's like, especially given that eject was called out to be Energon infused, and that's why he's clear blue. They're probably gonna do at least eject and rewind. I would expect that they're set up to be gated off in the mold, so they could be done like on their own with their own plastic colors. So like, that's where I'd kind of go like, if they don't, they don't. But like, it seems really likely that that's going to happen.
Yeah, and then there's all the other tapes too. I want to know, like, did they mention anything about the tapes being the same size as Soundwaves from the previous?
Yeah, very specifically.
Okay,
they said that it should all be the same size cassettes. Soundwave can use eject, and Blaster can use Soundwave's tapes.
Fantastic! I love it. All right, good. No, I'm in. It looks fantastic. So yeah.
Also, the speakers are posable on the boombox mode. I didn't really know what that meant, other than you can tilt them. But that, I guess, is just it. You can tilt them. That's apparently a thing.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that, but I guess somebody who break danced would know something like that.
he even held the thing like a little handheld boombox next to his ear, like he'd done it before, and I was like, damn. I want to interview this dude. This guy seems like Mark Mars seems like he'd be a fun interview. He seems just media trained enough to know what to not say, but also like just laid back enough to just start saying like really weird stuff instead, which I'm down for.
Yeah, he seems like a fun hang for sure.
He's one of those people with a constant natural high.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if this is still like, because I don't mean this as a derogatory, especially in 2021, but I was like, he's got that just like the delightful stoner uncle energy. You feel like, the last thing he's going to do is get mad at a thing. And it's like, sometimes you want to hang out with someone like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'll wrap up the toy section with a couple quick things. First, I mean, this call was pretty exclusive. Only, select few were invited. Jeremy was invited. Chris was invited. And a bunch of other of the luminaries of the Transformers fan community. But we did have another exclusive event this week, or last week, I should say, was on 10/27, which was Wednesday, October 27th. Hasbro hosted this 10/27 event, which was only for Pulse Premium members. So if you pay the $50 membership for Pulse Premium, you get the free shipping on everything you order from Hasbro Pulse, and you also get this exclusive content, which was very exclusive because as soon as the stream was over, it was not available anymore, and you were not able to watch it. But
literally bonkers, in my opinion. Like it's like I get the intent, but also it's pointless.
But so I am a Pulse Premium member, but I was in the car for like almost the entirety of the stream, so I pretty much missed it. But they did email the link to premium members, so I'm sure when people got that email, they immediately shared it on social media and let other people watch it.
And honestly, did they say secrets during the stream that they don't want people to know?
The email literally said, "Don't share this link. This is this is only for Pulse Premium members." And
I'm so confused by the whole thing. Like I learned of this about an hour or so ago when you told me right before we started, and I'm still like trying to digest this whole notion. I'm just like it's like very it's not indefensible ideas. It's just like the most amount of work possible to accomplish nothing.
Yeah, well. So, I mean, and this was not just for Transformers. This was an event for a bunch of exclusive toys, but for the Transformers part, they did show off a new Generation Selects, and this is the character Lift Ticket, which is a repaint of Hoist, was it Earthrise Hoist, in Diaclone colors. So he's red, bright red, but it is Hoist, and apparently Lift Ticket was a wrecker in some BotCon Fun Pub fiction at some point, and so he now has a wrecker name on the side of his alt mode in the packaging. But it's a red Hoist. I mean, if you're
and yellow can't yellow's
okay.
real loud.
Yeah,
can't leave that out.
But yeah, so I mean, if you're that into Hoist and need a red version, here he is. But yeah, that's what they showed off in this special stream. Also, I guess the new Legacy packaging is going to have all closed boxes with line art of the character, so no clear plastic on the boxes. And also, the same packaging will be used for Black Zarak in the future. So Black Zarak is coming out very soon, and this is the repaint of the Titan Scorponok that is also a Legacy, or not a Legacy. Is it? I guess it's Legacy Generation Selects.
It's kind of like it's now Legacy. I'm livid because this art looks really good, and I was looking forward to having a Titan box I could just throw in the recycling without even thinking about it. And then they did this whole like, oh, by the way, also the negative space is black, so there's tons of ink used on this thing to make it look better. I'm like, well, now I can't just friggin' get rid of it, you monsters.
Yeah, this is not good for completist collectors who want to keep all the boxes and artwork and stuff. So
it's like the most first world problem I could ever have. But like I saw more than one person saying they're like, dang, the generic Selects box like made it real easy to just use that as a shipper box. Now I don't know. And I saw people going like, none of us would mind getting a cool looking shipper box even if we get rid of it afterwards. So I get it. It's overall a positive. I think like I don't mean to focus on this over the actual toy. I just think it's a really cool way to zap up those Selects a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not much to talk about the toy. It's Hoist. I mean, Daryl, did you have any thoughts on Lift Ticket?
I mean, I saw these pictures going, clipping around on social media, and I could care less about this figure. This is a Diaclone figure that got picked up by Fun Pub, a few years ago. I am not excited about this at all. I'm glad that the people are able to get, a red Hoist if that's what they're after. But it doesn't do it for me, man. I'm happy with the Hoist I have, but like you said, it's a Hoist. So he's a good enough character as he is, but he's not good enough to be two characters.
What I'll put out there is I think it's cool that we now can just sort of take for granted that Diaclone redecos of Generations toys are probably just going to come out. Because a couple of years ago, I would have been. I still am kind of freaking out that they did Cordon and Red Sunstreaker, even though I haven't been able to pick them up yet. Because I'm like, dang, no, that's cool. Like, get the Diaclone versions done without having them be masterpieces. Hell yeah. The only bummer is like Lift Ticket is like one of my least favorite deco layouts on a toy in a long time. I just don't like it. So I like what it is more than I actually like what it visually exists as. Also, I think they should have changed the name to be LIFF ticket because I challenge anyone to pronounce both T's. Who's going to pronounce the double T? Who's going to say lift ticket? I'm really hyped for Legacy Generation Selects lift ticket.
It's good for pronunciation practice.
I am going to really hammer on people though, like especially at like TFCon and stuff as those start kicking back up. And be like, someone says lift ticket, I'm like, who? You mean lift ticket?
You're going to be real fun at parties.
I'm super fun at parties.
I will say the new boxes look great. I am not planning to get Black Zarak, but damn, I wish I was now because that box is gorgeous. And I do have all my Titan class boxes still, and they are not broken down, and they are all just sitting in a corner in my basement, all stacked up on top of each other like bricks. Bricks that take up space.
Think how hype it was briefly for like most of this year for those of us who got a pre-order on Black Zarak. I'm like, damn, just a big brown Titan mailer box. Like, I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to film it for packaging B-roll. Who cares? Now it's got a big cool piece of art on it. I'm just and the Selects boxes, you can't flatten them like a toy box because they're actually sturdy. So I flattened Ark's box. I'm still chasing for Omega Supreme and Scorponok because I waited for sales on those, which never happened. But Ark, I was like, no, I can flatten this. This is easy. Last time, I guess.
All right, well, that will do it for our toy topics, and we're going to move on to trips to the store. This is where we show off all the cool Transformers stuff we got this week. We do this as a video, so we show you everything we got in beautiful high definition on our YouTube channel. We'll also put the audio right here in the podcast, so as you keep listening, you can hear us describe everything we got in loving detail. So without further ado, trips to the store.
The Transmissions Podcast will return after these messages.
All right, well, we're going to start off the show and let Daryl take the lead. So, Daryl, you're going to show off what you got this week.
All right. Well, I only got one thing to show off this week, and it's something I've been waiting to show off just because it's, it hasn't been the right time. But not that this is the right time, but I'm going to do it anyway. This thing here is my new Masterpiece scaled Optimus Prime. This is not official, but this is the fourth party Masterpiece MP44 Optimus Prime version 3.0 Silver Leg version. That's the official name on Show Zed store.
It does have silver legs.
It does have silver legs and a working sound box. So where's the button on you? I think that's it. Yeah, so
I like the unofficial like luxury KO versions of those sound boxes when you could just hear the whole clip with the music and everything because they're like whatever.
Yeah, they don't care. I don't know. I'm assuming that this is the same with the official one, but now it does Japanese.
Oh no, that's Chinese.
Was it Chinese? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
On topic.
Yes, I guess so. But if you hold it down to switch the languages, it does the transition sound. I think that's hilarious.
I can't remember if the official one does that or not. It might do the transformation noise instead. I haven't messed with that sound box in a while.
But it looks great. I gotta say, for a knockoff, this is great, and they've done some improvements on it. I haven't transformed it yet. I bought this because it was on sale, and when I bought it, it was $89.99 US. No trailer, but it comes with everything else that you see. All the box, I got the box behind me. Actually, it's just a standard black or brown box. But it's got the tray inside, and then inside that is all the stuff it came with: the Starscream head, the shoulder pylons, and all the blast effects and the different faces and the damage piece and stuff like that. The one thing it did not come with, which I'm kind of bummed about, is a little piece to put on the shoulder for the insignia. So I just had to crack out a repro labels and just put it on there. So I'm pretty stoked about this. This was one of those things that when I saw that the Masterpiece Optimus Prime was $90, I was like, yeah, I gotta get this. I gotta check this out. So yeah,
I'd be tempted by that because I like the transformation on MP44 a lot, and I like it enough that I should say luxury KO I don't use as a derogatory. I just think it's the most clear way to refer to that subgenre. I liked MP36 Megatron's transformation a lot. I have like 2 luxury KOs that are completely different from each other because I wanted more copies of that toy that have little tweaks. And if that one, I got to look into that one because if that one's transformation is a little bit smoother, I would be down for just that robot into Cav because I like the transformation concept. It's got surprising flow for how like kooky it is.
But I showed this off last week, and if you can see above my shoulder here, there's the box for it. But this is the Crimson Wings that I bought in the same order with the Optimus. So I showed it off last week, but you guys were different audience last week. Neither one of you were on the show. So I figured
I don't even know who that is.
So Crimson Wings is the luxury KO of MP 52. So
Starscream.
and I'm really impressed with as well. So
I actually had a question so is that based on MP52? Because there's also another new cartoon style Seeker that the Infinite Transformation people did, and like their naming is all just smudgy enough that I actually can't tell the difference between any of them anymore.
This is definitely based on MP52, but the biggest difference is that they gave him a waist swivel.
Oh, interesting.
None of the official MPs have ever had a waist swivel, so this guy's got a waist swivel, and most of the other most of the other bits on him are pretty much MP52 kind of stylings, but they've just kind of upped it a bit. But yeah, he's called, what is he? Is officially Crimson Wings by Deformation. Yeah, so he's cool. He was more expensive than Optimus, so yeah, he was $150. But yeah, that's it. That's what I have for this week.
Well, Chris, we're going to move it over to you.
I went to a toy show earlier this month. I actually saw Daryl there in real life, so there's a decent chance Daryl's an actual human being.
I don't exist only digitally.
Yeah. Like, it still might have been an actor. I'm not, I can't say 100%, but I'm pretty sure he was real.
Did you quiz him?
No, I was selling toys, so I just went like, you know what? If you're fake Daryl, as long as you're not stealing my toys and my money, then it's all good. But I made some cash, and so I went and spent some cash, and I spent less than I made, which is a first at a toy show, because I'm terrible. So I saw at Madhouse Toys they had little third-party pocket scale Galvatrons, and I like Galvatron a lot. So I picked up both of them. So I think this is actually a pretty good deal because I looked him up later. I think he's supposed to be like $75, but for $55, I got Iron Factory's Galvatron, who's got a very IDW barbarian motif. Yeah, I should say the other one I got before I start going on is Darius. The New Age darling boy that cause everyone loves New Age now because they're fans' toys or whatever. And I like New Age. The reason why a lot of people like New Age now makes me not go into New Age threads. It's not my podcast, so I can just start like dogging on parts of the community.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want here. We're not beholden to anybody.
Well, I picked up both little Galvatrons because I like Galvatron. I'd been eyeing these. This one is a bit more fun to mess with. I was actually pleasantly surprised how good this felt because I have a sort of up and down history with Iron Factory. When they do stuff I like, I love it. When they do stuff I don't like, it bounces off me really hard. I always cite their Overlord bounced off me tremendously hard. But this one, the articulation built into this guy is so emotive, and there's so much like subtlety you can put into his posture. I was astounded given how bulky he is. And then Darius has a very similar sort of subtle articulation scheme. Slightly more limited than you might think, but mostly in very small ways that probably don't matter to lots of people. They both are super solid. I like that they both do the forearm cannon, because I get why the cannon goes on the biceps sometimes, but it looks worse. So I'm okay with it being on the forearm. The Iron Factory one actually has an extra shoulder pad over here with a peg hole on the front, so you can peg the cannon on there so that he can do the thing he did the one time and hold the cannon like a gun, if you want. But I'm big on transformation too. I need to like the transformation on my converting robot toys a lot. That's kind of like, if I don't, I feel like I'm losing out on my value proposition, basically.
We're not Hasbro official. You can say transforming. You don't have to say converting.
I kind of like doing it just for fun because like it makes people twitch. But I actually like the transformation schemes on these two quite a bit. They're very clever with a lot of really good ideas. They both end up looking like nothing at the end. And I don't mean that really even as a derogatory. They kind of do what Galvatrons tend to do. The only Galvatron across the whole swath of Galvatrons available who actually nails the alt mode, in my opinion, is the recent Kingdom one. It has just the right shapes, just the right visceral look to the cannon mode, that it doesn't immediately look like a dude that kind of fell over. And what's fascinating is, like, especially Darius, the New Age one, these both have a lot of creative engineering and really neat, like, solid locking mechanisms to end up looking like a dude who fell over. And it's hard to say that without it being like just a straight up like insult on the toy. It's like they look like solid Galvatron alt modes in the greater Galvatron pastiche. It's just like Darius looks a lot like the Fans Toys or Unique Toys Galvatron. Or was it DX9? The two Masterpiece scale ones, in that it's a cannon, but it looks kind of kludgy, and you see a bit too much of a dude in it. Iron Factories makes for a more cohesive vehicle mode, but it's sort of like a four-treaded nothing with a gun, but like the treads align, and there's even the ability to kind of elevate and ball socket maneuver them like they're off-road. So the Iron Factory one overall, I think, is more fun, but Darius is fascinating to mess with, and he is a very little, very G1-y Galvatron, and sometimes you kind of want that, because, you know, we're in this sort of golden age of Galvatrons now. Once upon a time, we were kind of stuck with, it was just the Fans Toys one and the Unique Toys DX9 one. And I don't think the Fans Toys one is as good as a lot of people think it is. I think it looks good in robot mode, and maybe that's what a lot of people think is good about it. But the
shots fired.
I like Sovereign as a robot toy. I think that him as a $300 converting robot toy, he's not very good. I think if he was a $150 that robot mode with that articulation that didn't transform, I think I'd like him a lot more. Because the Sovereign transformation sucks. The Unique Toys DX9 one, I always forget who made it, the D-Series one. It's a lot more weird looking in robot mode, but it has a better cannon mode, and the transformation is actually kind of fun. So I always give that one just a little leg up over Sovereign. Sovereign is heavy and looks good in robot mode, and like that's it. But that's also good enough for a lot of folks. Anyway, I like these little Galvatrons. The bad part is now I kinda want the Iron Factory Scourge and Cyclonus, and the worst part is the Iron Factory Scourge has 4 separate head sculpts and shoulder sculpts to be 4 different characters. So I want 4 Iron Factory Scourges. They are still 55 Canadian dollars a piece. That's a lot all of a sudden. But like, I don't want one, because then I got all these bits for the other robot modes, and I don't want to swap them all. I just want 4 of them. And my friend Matt of Matt McNally of some of the third-party panels has 3 of them or 4 of them. He has 3 or 4 of them, and he took photos, and it wasn't nice of him to do that to me because they looked really good. So, and then the worst part is I heard Iron Factory stuff is a one run and done company right now where they make a whole bunch, but when they're gone, they're gone. And apparently the aftermarket on Iron Factory stuff from the past is pretty high. And I looked into some of it and I was like, oh no, that's pretty high. So, yeah, this is my problem to deal with. It's not even a real problem, but either way. I like these Galvatrons. They were a nice cap on top of a fun toy show. Also, my first gathering of people since the lockdown and everything began, and I was very trepidatious about going to that thing. And thankfully, it felt pretty dang safe, all things considered, which makes me feel way better about TFCon Toronto in about a month and a bit. So I'm feeling a lot more safe. Specifically, it's because we got a provincial ordinance, which means the hotel is doing all the checks that it needs to do, and it's not foisting that on convention volunteers. And it creates a sense of security that I was very happy to see. And I'll say on record, I also was ready to narc out the hotel if they didn't. So I'm glad they did. And it was nice to see folks. It was nice to see Daryl and everyone else, even for just a few fleeting minutes, because like everyone was... There was a cool... That show's almost a podcast in itself. It was a cool vibe of everyone kind of like refinding the energy and having a very nice open space where you could kind of edge in a little bit and just kind of take it in. And if it was a bit too much, you could kind of back out for a sec. There was enough space to do that. But yeah, that's all the stuff I got at my little one-day toy show. Charles went to a friggin' whole-ass Transformers convention of sorts. Fancy dude going to fancy shows with multiple days or whatever. Holy moly, me and my little Galvatrons over here. That's my segue.
Yes. Well, you mentioned TFCon. TFCon Toronto is coming back in December, but last weekend we had TFCon Baltimore, and that happened. It was great. And apparently Maryland has a statewide mask mandate for indoors, so the hotel was enforcing.
Oh, thank
that,
goodness! I didn't
meant...
want to press people about that, but I did poke some friends of mine who were there, going like, "Hey, just want to make sure you're having fun, but also, do you feel safe?" And they said they felt safe, but I was very like, oh, all due respect to those listening from. Yeah, and to Charles, but I was like, America.
I understand.
No, he gets it.
Yeah,
he gets it.
But yeah, it was masks all weekend. So everyone was wearing a mask on the floor in the panel rooms. The panelists were wearing masks on the stage. So yeah, there was no problem there. Everyone was, and yeah, I mean, everyone was pretty much complying. No one was, trying to flout the mask rules flagrantly or anything like that. One of the
it's glad to hear that too.
Yeah. So I mean, the one of the the workers, I forget her name, but I think everyone who's been to TFCon knows one of the ladies who wrangles the panels and is
Misha.
Yeah, and she did remind a few people to wear their masks and as she's walking around, but everyone was cool, so that was very positive. Yeah, so I did go to TFCon Baltimore. We also had Mike, our editor from the show, and his wife came, and Dr. Pants, who's another contributor on the show, he was there as well. So we all hung out. There were a bunch of friends there. We had Alpha Magnus, who's a longtime listener and Donatron. We had number one Derek was there, and I hope I'm not forgetting. I mean, we got a bunch of people, other people. Oh, Jimmers was there. Jimmers and Emmers were both there. So he does the Respect the Prime album. He was there, and yeah, lots of cool people. Artists Livio Ramondelli, Andrew Griffith, Josh Burcham. Paul from Robots with Coffee was there. I think Paul and Jesse were there from Robots with Coffee. So
Casey Collar.
Casey Collar. Yeah, Casey Collar. That's right. Definitely. He was there too. Lots of cool people.
I had a moment there a second ago when you just said Dr. Pants with a straight face and kept talking, because it's been so long since I've talked to some like a grander concession of internet pseudonyms, and I was like, oh, Dr. Pants, the famous Dr. Pants.
He's famous if you listen to Transmissions. So he's one of our monthly guest hosts. He's on once a month on Transmissions.
It's one of the best names I've heard in a long time. I like that name a lot.
He's on. He has his own YouTube channel is Nerdstradamus. So you can check that out if you want more Dr. Pants. But yeah, so I
want more Dr. Pants.
So I did get some stuff. So first, I did want to show. I did get stuff signed. So I did a mini Daryl. So I got
not a short box.
No, not a short box. Livio Remendelli, his sketchbook, or this is like Transformers covers, IDW Transformers covers. So that I bought that from him in his table, and yeah, it's got lots of cool. He's done tons of covers from IDW, enough to fill a book, in fact. So these are all in here. He signed it, of course. And then we had gotten last year. Casey Collar had put up this Marvelous Mechs sketchbook that and he did Transformers in the G1 Marvel style, both the line art and the colors. So we had ordered these online, and I got them all signed. So you can see they're all signed by Casey Collar. So I still got to get these out to Daryl and Jeremy and Mike, I gave Mike his at the convention. So. And I
forgot all about that.
And we've got a couple for prizes too. So, those are cool. Beast Wars, Josh Burcham, he did Beast Wars issues 1 through 6. I got them all signed. And I think these are all Josh's covers. So that's cool. And he's going back to Beast Wars starting with issue 9. So, I believe that came out this week or last week. So, you should already have that if you're reading the Beast Wars comic. So that's cool. And Livio Remendelli, I had all his issues of the Kill Lock, so I got them all signed. So, not as extensive as Daryl, but I think I did a good job.
You did pretty well. You did pretty well. I'll give you that.
If there was a unit called One Daryl, how much of one Daryl would you call that stack? There?
That's probably an eighth Daryl, a .125 Daryl, probably.
.125 Daryl. Yeah. All right, now that's a solid .125 Daryl is like that's what an average person should be doing, at a show. So top out at a 1/8 Daryl.
Yeah.
If you get to a 1/4 Daryl, you got to calm down a little bit. Like make sure you got a briefcase at least.
I have to interject for 1 second because this kind of makes a little bit of it fits in with this. This week at work, where I fix photocopiers, I came across an artist in their studio. They were they're doing their art and they have a photocopier in there that I had to fix. Turns out they did Marvel covers a long time ago. They had them there. Well, I had to order a part for this copier and come back the next day. I brought my copy of his book and got him to sign it during my workday. And because he just had his book sitting on the shelf just loose, I brought him 8 bags and boards. That's how much I need to get books signed by creators right now. I have to find them wherever I can.
I went through a tapestry of not facial expressions, but of hand expressions while you were telling that story.
Anyway, please continue, Charles.
All right. I'm not going to show off everything I got this week, but I will show this. This is important to Daryl because I think he'll be happy to see this too. I got 2 of the IDW Rung Mastermind Creations reformatted. He's called Mentis. One of these is for me, and one of these is for Daryl. So this one is.
I'll take Daryl's. It's like I can bring it over to him. I don't seem to be able to punch through the wall here. But...
So
I
yeah.
suppose you want me to pay for that now, huh?
It would be nice. I mean, if not, Chris.
I'm not going to make presumptions about the arrangement.
Chris, if you've got an offer, let me know. But,
I'm really hoping that I get a chance to pick one of those up in Toronto.
Yeah.
At our show.
Yeah, I think they should have some there. Crossing fingers that there's no shipping and delay or anything. Another thing I got, which I was looking for. I mean, this was available in retail, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I did get Origin Bumblebee at this show.
I haven't been able to find that either.
Yeah, and I wanted to show him in vehicle mode because this vehicle mode is very nice. I mean, this is very much the G1 cartoon. The first episode, More Than Meets the Eye, of the G1 cartoon. His transformation is very nice. Underneath, I mean, there's lots of kibble underneath, but from the top, it's a good looking G1 Bumblebee, and I think it's my rear axle. I mean, I'd say yeah, he's a deluxe. He's not that big for what they're actually, I mean, he might be closer to a Legends. I don't know, but he's not.
I asked friends of mine who've got him, and I asked them some very specific probing questions. Because I kind of like how he looks, and I want to pick one up. I know he's out in Toys R Us around here. I just haven't, been able to catch him on the website or whatnot. But my question basically, he's got that phrase people hate hearing, which is he's small, but he has parts density. So he's got a deluxe of plastic in him. He's just short.
And he has access.
I've seen him at Toys R Us, Chris. And he's over $40.
Oh, they Draculist him? That's a shame.
Yeah.
Because I really would like Draculist. Do you know how much Draculist costs in Canada?
Oh, yeah.
The cost of a leader toy in Canada.
Yeah.
Someone miscarried the decimal on Draculist when they brought it. I was fine. I was actually fine with it. I was like, you know what? Yes, okay, I understand. Soft goods, I guess. Then the Americans were like, oh yeah, at Target he's like $30. And I was like, what?
Well,
so also, I'll put the word out here. Any Americans coming to TFCon Toronto, you just bring a pallet of Draculuses and sell them for your American price, you're going to do real well.
He does come with extra plastic bits. It's the, he's got a jetpack, a gun. The jetpack, I guess, is from the Dinobot Island episode, but he was already G1 Bumblebee and in Volkswagen Bumblebee in the Dinobot Island episode. But I mean, it fits on his back. He's got a 5mm point on his back, so it fits. The energy conductors. Hey,
it's cool.
Fine. That's
your $10 up right there. That's $10 right there.
I mean, he can't even hold. They don't plug into a 5mm point, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, like with the figure. But
he holds them under his
clear
arm.
elastic bands. Yeah. The little elastic bands that you usually throw out, you put those around.
So I do have to I have to kind of paint the sucker on my forehead because I paid $40 American for this figure at TFCon, Baltimore last week, and I mean, I saw him at two places. I saw him in one place for $50, and then I saw him in another place for $40. And I said, well, I haven't seen him at Target anywhere. I'm gonna bite the bullet and pay the $40. He retails for $23 at Target, which is already pretty overpriced. And I paid it. And then I went to my Target this weekend, and guess what I saw?
Fuck
off. There were five Bumblebees at my Target. They had been restocked. So
you know why yours is better, and it's still worth that money. Because yours has something that you can't even put a real price on, which is memories. It is part of an experience. It's part of the first TFCon after a very hard, about 2 years or so. And it's got memories attached to it. So you actually got a pretty good deal for memories. I mean, those are pretty expensive.
Plus, you supported a small business that screwed you.
Yeah. They did. I mean, usually I don't pay any money for my memories. They're just there. So, I mean,
well, these are Transformers branded memories, and they do have an associated licensing cost. So pretty good deal.
Yeah, good deal. So if anyone is looking for an Origins Bumblebee, Target might have restocked. So maybe you should check your local Target. Yeah. But anyway,
Charles is selling one for $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll throw in the memories for free.
And that is it for our trips to the store this week.
We now return to the Transmissions Podcast.
All right, we're back from our trips to the store, and we will finish up the show with some convention news. And just one item in convention news for everyone who was waiting for tickets for TFCon Los Angeles in 2022. Tickets are now on sale at tfcon.com. So, yeah, TFCon Baltimore ended and TFCon Los Angeles begins. So this is March 11th through 13th, 2022. My birthday is March 12th. So, this is scheduled very opportunely for me. I hope. We'll see.
Where is Charles's free ticket? Birthday ticket.
We're gonna rip that town out responsibly.
So is there also a Chicago one happening in like October or something? 'Cause I saw that floating around as well.
That was announced at the show last week, at the closing ceremonies of the show last week. They announced TFCon Chicago next October, and the same weekend.
Yeah, my mom saw this pop up on Facebook and texted me and said, "Oh, is the Chicago one not happening then?" And I was like, "No, Colin's just crazy. He's doing two."
Well, I mean, yeah, they're transitioning to now. Seems like they're doing regular 3 cons a year now, 3 TF cons a year, two in the US.
Yeah, just 3 TF cons.
Yeah, plus all the other stuff he does.
There's also, in Ontario area, you might be aware of like a fairly large number of local shows too.
Yes,
Colin's a very hardworking fella. I just say the TFCon Colin.
Yes, yeah, he did. Was it the Ontario Collectors Con? Is it like every other weekend in Toronto there?
Yeah, or at least based off the website. There's it feels like nearly. I always call it seasonal, but it feels like it sometimes is more than once a season. There's a lot of them. Well, hypothetically, a lot of them. I was also going to say, it's kind of messing with my brain that this says 2022, and that's actually, like, less than 6 months away. And I'm like, well, weird. I guess we skipped a year, huh?
Yeah. I think we did.
We skipped 2 years now at this point. All right, well, that takes us to the end of this episode of Transmissions. As always, we give a shout out to our masterpiece donatrons. So thank you again to John 4X Levengood, Dinobot Maximize, Demon Tech 82, and Septimus Soulvein. These are all people who continue to support us on Patreon at our highest level. So we really appreciate them, and that's why we give them a shout out in every episode. Also, if you would like to support us by buying some merchandise from our TeePublic store, you can go to transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We've got lots of shirt designs, masks, and other merchandise that you can pick up. And yeah, it's really cool there. Chris, thank you for joining us and helping us out this week on Transmissions. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find your stuff online?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of all over the place right now, but you can check out a Transformers podcast that I host over on TFW 2005. It's actually at wtf.tfw2005.com. You can just play it right in your browser there if you wanna. But we're generally on a bunch of podcasting things. It's been a bit of a thing getting it to work on some certain apps. We were trying to figure out what on earth was going on, and it seems to kind of work. But there are direct downloads available as well, and like I said, in browser playing. I also do video and streaming stuff over on youtube.com/Vangelus Central. And in general, even when I am at my worst mental health, I'm still existing over on twitter.com/Vangelus. So if you're curious what's going on, you definitely can find me there. Worst case. I'm also on Instagram, Vangelus Central on Instagram. You can go there if you want to see food pictures and toy pictures and miniatures painting pictures. And those are the main spots to find me right now. Actually got a whole dump of WTF at TFW podcasts coming up because I have a lull in between some contract work I've been doing. So we're gonna dump out a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of specialty podcasts that we're racking up, and a little mystery to reveal is now now we might have a podcast editor too. Can find out who that is on the episode after the paleontology special. Also, there's a paleontology special coming
Is the
up.
paleontology special featuring Mikey from from...
How did he tell you? How did you know? How did you guess? There's a lot of paleontologists. We did an episode, a special sort of, I call them evergreen episodes. We did one about aeronautics in Transformers. And that was really fun. And then I was like, well, why don't we do one? In my head, after I saw a tweet that said, from Mikey, that said, podcast should bring me on to talk about dinosaurs. I thought, hey, that aeronautics one was fun. Why don't we do paleontology in Transformers? I had a lot of fun doing that one. I learned what a thagomizer is. I learned a whole lot about dinosaurs, actually. It was quite educational for me. I learned that it's really messed up that a lot of robot stegosauruses use their plates as weapons, because would be the equivalent of hitting someone with a skin tag, basically. Super gross. Why would you hit someone with a skin tag? You weirdo. I'd do it if I could. But yeah, check those out, and find me on places. Yeah. And hey, maybe they'll even let me sneak back on here, at some point. I definitely do have fun appearing on other podcasts, because I noticed that I am a completely different podcaster when I'm not hosting, because I just go on and on and on. And occasionally podcasts just let me keep going, or maybe, they can't quite find that window to get in there and go like, yo, so, in our ending credits where we say donate to, and I'm like, yeah, did you know that Gary Larson invented the thagomizer? Like way off in the background. Anyway. Twitter.com/Vangelus.
And listen to Mikey on Moonbase too. I forgot to mention his podcast.
He does a podcast, doesn't he? Yeah, you should probably check that
Mikey
one
and
out,
Andy
too.
on Moonbase too. Check them out.
Yeah, Decade Andy.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and showing up for Transmissions. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Later.
Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.
Although I don't appreciate being thrown under the bus last week. I didn't even do the intro last week, and I somehow got blamed for it.
Well, we know that you were in the dock at some point many times.
But I didn't write the intro. One of you wrote the intro. I didn't write it.
I don't know what's going on. I just came in. This is some kind of beef. I don't know what's happening here. This is why I don't let you guys sit together on podcast panels, because we can't have that kind of beef just erupting in IRL.
We have Jeremy's notes too.
Oh, really?
We can refer back to those, yeah.
Are those in
but I'm gonna
notes?
pass them off as my notes.
All right. You'll see in Daryl's notes. I mean, Jeremy's notes. It completely corroborates what I'm talking about. But yeah, you said Transformers. We're talking about Transformers on this one.
Yes. That's what this show is. All
right.
We talk about Transformers on this. Do-do-do-do-do. We have a sound effect, but Jeremy's our soundboard, so I just do the sound effects when he's not here. So there you go.
I like these ones.
I'm sorry.
Oh no. It was such a good joke.
I know. I have my backup going, so theoretically, if we stop here, I can continue and answer to your joke when I come back. But it's going to be a problem. But he's got an extra day to edit, so that's okay.
Yeah. What else does he got to do?
So I'll give you your scene lead in. All right. So Daryl has just lengthily insinuated that you're a hollow avatar for some kind of robotic entity, and then I went like, I don't have anything to do with this, as a clever little aside in between in the pause, and then action. I got notes, but we also got Jeremy's notes. They tried to silence Jeremy, but we got his notes. You can't halt the signal, and I got my own notes too.
We now the Transformers.
So how do I do this?